Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network. Welcome back to the show. We are back with Classic Citiva. That's right. We are here talking about empathy, and all that Alan Hart does. Amazing man, family man. Got to meet him last week and talk about his amazing company, of course, that's helping so many with pain, with ailments, with illness, and so much more. Hailing from beautiful Athens, Georgia, we welcome you back. How are you today?
Thank you, Jill. I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm fantastic. A little cold here. We had some snow. How's the weather where you are?
Oh, frigid. Kids have
Yeah.
been out of school for 2 days. Down in Georgia, we don't handle snow very well. We only got a couple of inches on, was it Tuesday night, but things have been really slow to get back going again.
That's exciting though. Remember those days? I know you're officially a New Yorker, right? So you remember when you had those big
Yeah.
snowstorms and you get to be off of school. It's exciting. So it's glad they still get to experience that, let alone the beautiful farm life that you and your wife give them. And you're helping people, with CBD. THC, there's so much that you all provide in your hemp store. And I would love for our new time listeners and the viewers tuning in today to learn a little bit more about you. And to start, I'm just going to give them the website Classic Sativa. That's ClassicCitiva.com. So please tell us a little bit about what it is that you do.
All right. So, Classic Citiva is a hemp store, and in the hemp industry in the United States, since the 2018 Farm Bill, we've been allowed to provide cannabis, mostly is CBD, or at least it started out as CBD 6 years ago, and it's kind of blossomed into several layers of the plant, including some THCs. But we're finding how much help it can give a lot of people regarding anxiety or pain or sleeplessness. And that's mainly what we do is we provide cannabis, with CBDs, THCs, and a whole slew of different parts of the plant that can provide a lot of relief for people who are suffering in many ways.
Well, thank you so much. And, I got to learn a lot behind your backstory. And if you could give us a little summary about that, how you found, comfort in this with your own ailments, shall I say?
Yeah, absolutely. No, I have not suffered a lot of mental health issues in my life. However, about 10 years ago, I was really in the dumps. I was feeling really terrible. And I hate to use the word depression. I don't want to talk about my depression, but I did. I went through a depression that seemed to not be fixed by a lot of things. And when I found cannabis, it was the one thing that really put me back into a place where I could feel normal again.
Beautiful. Well, thank you. Do you want to share a little more details about what you do have to offer? And I know we're going to get to talk to something that's coming up special for Valentine's Day and also some cool things that are happening this weekend. So at whatever pace you'd like to go, I'm with you. Thank you.
Very cool. Yeah. So a lot of people don't understand, it feels like a lot of people wanted to, when we talk about full legalization of cannabis and marijuana, a lot of people think that what they really want is marijuana and that hemp is something that is a cousin that makes an itchy hat or an itchy poncho. But the
So
truth is
true.
that hemp is the same thing as marijuana. They're both from the cannabis sativa L
Okay.
plant. It's the several facets of the plant have been part of our society for a long time. Like I can't even begin to tell you. There have been digs from 60,000-year-old sites, burial sites, where they found cannabis being smoked and put in that burial site next to somebody who passed away before we even had a written language in our species.
Mm-hmm.
But as we have evolved, the cannabis plant has evolved with us. And it's really kind of interesting because most people don't even know that it was taken away from us 100 years ago, and that we had a deep connection to that plant before that, including in our medical society. And I'm not just talking about old shamans from uh, uh, old societies. I'm talking about actual doctors used to carry what they called tincture of cannabis around with
Wow.
them 100 years ago when they made house visits. And in their bag, a tincture of cannabis could be used to relieve pain or sleeplessness or something we used to call melancholy, which we now call depression. So that comes back around. And it's really interesting to me that somebody demonized this plant a little over 100 years ago and was solidified. The first time marijuana was used as a word in legal terms was the 1937 Marijuana Tax Act, which was put together by a man named Harry Anslinger, who was the head of our federal narcotics agency, which is now known as the DEA. And Harry was losing part of his budget because we were in a recession. He was losing part of his budget because alcohol had just come out of prohibition. And
Mm-hmm.
so he needed a new demon. And he didn't think that anybody was really using cannabis to a great degree, other than people with maybe darker skin colors. And Harry was known as somebody who had racist undertones in most of the things that he did. So we kind of associate him and the criminalization of cannabis as something that came along and is tuned into some level of racism, which isn't wrong. But the fact is, everybody in the human society can really work with cannabis and have some kind of connection that makes you feel better. And
Yeah.
that's mostly because we have, I think I mentioned this last week, an endocannabinoid system, or known as an endogenous cannabinoid system that our body has. And this system wasn't even discovered until mid 1990s. And what's really fascinating is that it helps us just to be more normal or achieving homeostasis, as we would say it. And what that means basically is that we're just getting back to things where our bodies might malfunction. One of these cases is things like cancer, and a lot of autoimmune disorders have been shown to be treated very well by cannabis, mostly CBD, but also high levels of THC, and they play off each other really, really well. So if you come into classic sativa, you're actually getting something that's going to help you feel more normal or try and
Yeah.
achieve equilibrium.
Yeah. Which, by the way, where's the exact location of the store?
The store is in Athens, Georgia, located at 2361 West Broad Street in the West Broad market, where we also have the Athens Health and Fitness Club and the new Cafe Racer that's been there for a couple of years.
Great. Well, this is amazing because the work that you're doing and with your background, with your knowledge, I mean, this is pretty amazing things. It's helping with, anxiety, mental health. We talked about pain. We've talked about, my goodness, people helping them to sleep, even with low libido, right? There's so much
Yes.
that this can help with. And, I believe in Western medicine has a place in the world and, also holistic alternative medicine does. And I just love that, there's so much more out there, but since it's still more of a newer form of help in a sense, I feel like a lot of people are uneducated. What I love about you is that you will take their call. Alan's like, call me, you have questions and that's important because you're really big in improving the education and especially in helping, your community.
Yeah, because of the illegality of cannabis over the past 100 years, I think a lot of people don't understand it, and
Mm-hmm.
and we've been told some really nasty things about it, and
Yep.
most of those are completely untrue and unfounded. So what we want to do at Classic Sativa more than anything is make it comfortable to have a connection to this plant, to learn about it, to figure out how to use it, because a lot of people will binge on it, and that's I'm not judging them for having a high use, but at the same time, there's many ways to consume cannabis, and it doesn't have to be about getting high. In a lot of cases, it's just about feeling a little bit more normal and a little bit more happy and a little bit more focused in the world. And to me, it's one of the most wonderful things that has really made an impact on my life, maybe even saved my life. So I appreciate it, and I think everybody else should at least have a comfortable way to
Mm-hmm.
connect to it.
Absolutely. All right. Well, what else do you want listeners to know about you and the work you're doing and what's happening and what's coming up?
Okay, so Jill, this weekend, this Sunday, we are having at the store, we're having a tasting with High Rise Beverage Company, which
Oh.
is a cannabis beverage company. They do some wonderful THC and CBD drinks and some drinks that have both in them at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
And we are going to provide several ingredients not just the drinks themselves, but
Mm-hmm.
anybody who comes in, we're going to do some mixing. We're going to provide some recipes. We're going to show how you can have a non-alcoholic cocktail that can also make you feel wonderful. And we are going to be doing it very responsibly. But we will encourage people to take some home and try it out when they get home, and providing small sips while they're at the store.
Oh, I like this. Awesome, awesome. And then you have something going on in just a few weeks as well for Valentine's Day, right?
That's right. For Valentine's Day, we're actually going to be featuring our intimacy lines.
Ooh.
So we have several lines of cannabis products that promote intimacy, not just for men, but for women also. There's a lot of great things that can happen with cannabis. One of them is that it improves your heart and your circulation.
Mm-hmm.
Therefore, getting better oxygen to not only your brain, but also your other regions that maybe could use a little bit extra oxygen, and especially around Valentine's Day, if you will. So we're going
Mm-hmm.
to be doing 15% off of most of our intimacy products, and showing people how they can use cannabis to make them feel a little bit more risque, I suppose, or just maybe happier to connect with their significant other.
But what's the secret? What's the secret? I mean, what part of cannabis? What part of what are we supposed to like? What helps the? I want to. I'm gonna just say it. Horniness. It's libido, I guess. I'm like, I can't think of the word, but the
Stimulation,
hormones, the
yeah.
pheromones. Thank you. I'm
Hmm.
trying to use all the proper terms, and then I just can't.
Yeah.
But yeah. So what is it about? Like, and what specifically in it helps you? You just talk because I
Well,
can't.
okay, we've got so THC will actually raise your heart rate, and getting more oxygen to everywhere, getting a little bit more blood to everywhere gets you a little bit more horny, as you might say, or
Hmm.
just a little more stimulated.
Stimulated,
Yep, stimulate.
excited,
Excited. I
thrilled.
like
I'm
that.
looking for all. I love it, love it.
So, by providing a lot of the things we have, it's THC. CBD also can improve it lowers your heart rate. So sometimes if you get a little too much CBD, it might actually not improve your
Okay.
intimacy with your partner. But THC with a little bit of CBD, which CBD can reduce inhibitions, because CBD is very relaxing and it balances out your biochemistry. So you're not feeling quite as stressed. Uh, there's other parts of the plant, including CBG, that can help with focus and also give you a slight stimulation. I like to replace CBG. I usually use CBG just in the morning, just as a replacement for coffee or tea, to help me get focused during the day, but can also provide a little focus in the bedroom. Um, so that's in a nutshell, but there's a couple other components that I'm not going to get too into detail because it's a complex plant. But several parts together, whether taken with a gummy or smoking, or there's several topicals that can also provide the type of stimulation. And cannabis works differently when it's a topical, providing a lot of pain relief and relaxation. One of the best ways to actually consume CBD is with a bath bomb. And I can only begin to tell you how more stimulated and relaxed at the same time you'll feel if you jump in a tub with about 100 milligrams of CBD.
Ooh, I'm excited. My son got bath bombs from Santa for Christmas, like with little Jesus inside, little like Christmas toys. I thought those were good because they're fizzling and they make your skin feel good. But this is all new to me. I love. Do you actually sell the bath bombs too?
We do, yeah. We've got bath bombs from three different companies, and we feel like ours are really amazing. You can take a gummy before you take a bath, and it might even impact the bath a little bit more. But usually, and we know that our skin is actually the biggest organ of our whole body, and when you're in a bath with some warm water and CBD, you're getting CBD all over your body, which becomes what one of my customers referred to as an involuntary relaxation. Uh, so I thought that was amazing, and I think that that's sort of what people can expect is a way to just find an unexpected relaxation, and something really deep, and even help them relieve a lot of their stresses. One of the things that I like to do when I have a date night with my wife is usually to take a little bit of THC and a lot of CBD, because date night's supposed to be romantic And it often devolves into a conversation about the bills or the kids. And you can't help but feel stressed when that happens. So take
Oh.
some CBD and a little THC and enjoy your date night or your Valentine's Day.
Yay, I love it. Now let's talk about, your products, where are they sourced, how are they grown? Let's get into like, why you're doing everything 100% the right way, the natural way, the good way, because there's people out there selling products that maybe aren't, I don't know the terminology, licensed, up to
Mhm.
par. Yeah, explain that process.
Okay. Now we are a small business and a small shop, but we reach out and have found a lot of small companies that are doing the hemp very, very actively. We also have a farm here in Watkinsville and a farm that we work with up the road in Hartwell, Georgia, that does their own growing of hemp, as well as creating some products that are topicals, as well as tinctures and gummies, all based on relaxation with CBD at the forefront. And by the way, I should mention I really love CBD. I don't know if I've mentioned that before. I love THC also, but unlike most people, I really find CBD to be the more important component of the cannabis plant. That doesn't mean I don't enjoy having a little bit of a high, but at the same time, having that relaxation makes that even better. And one of the ways that we do that is to provide those components together. I think I mentioned last week also that the whole plant seems to be better than the sum of its parts, and that's because they interact with each other in a really unique way and enhance the expected response that you're going to get for your own body and feeling more normal.
Yeah, awesome, awesome. I love this. And by the way, just curious, Classic Sativa, where did the name come from?
Okay, yeah, let's talk about that again. So classics, the city I live in is, or near the city I live near is Athens, Georgia. Being that the name came from the Greek city Athens, we consider ourselves to be the classic city. And there's a lot of hearkening back to Athena and the Greek gods and some of the mythology involved there. So what we did is we took the classic city and we took the word sativa, or the last the species of the cannabis sativa plant, which the correct spelling of sativa in that case is actually Sativa. We crammed that word together with city, and now we have classic sativa with a Citiva. So that's why
Ooh,
it's a little bit interesting.
yeah.
We're just playing off a couple of different words and trying to associate ourselves not only as an Athens, Georgia brand, but also as a cannabis company.
Oh, wow. This is great. Well, I'm excited you're here. Let's remind everyone of the website, how we contact you, the address, phone number, any social media pages yet. Tell me. I know the website's still being worked on, but
Yeah.
it's up.
Yes. Classic Sativa. You can find us at www.classicccitiva.com, classicsativa.com. And you can find us at 2361 West Broad Street in Athens, Georgia. And if you want to just give us a call anytime, you can call us at 706-224-9505. And just give us a call and we can point you in the right direction. We could maybe even ship you a few products. Most of our products are sourced in the Southeast.
Okay.
We do have a couple of big companies that we associate with also. 3Chi is one of them. They are actually a pioneer in the hemp industry. But so we have a broad selection of different hemp products for our customers.
Awesome. Wow. And is there any other, products that you want to highlight? Any specials going on? What else for today, Alan?
Yep. Let me see. So through the end of this month, which still has another week left in it, we're actually 10% off on all CBD products because January is National CBD Month. So we're celebrating by giving everybody an extra 10% off on everything that has CBD in it. And otherwise, we are developing our own classic sativa products, including a few gummies that we've always had. But we're going to continue that line in the next few months. As you see our website go live, you'll actually be able to see some great new gummies and maybe even some vape carts that can associate with anybody to bring about some anxiety relief and a little bit of boost to their day.
And speaking of, how do you know, if I came to you, someone comes, like, what exactly do they need? What dosage? How do you start off on that?
Mm. Oh, I'm glad you asked that question, Jill. It's a complicated process, to be honest. We like to teach something that's called titration, and titration is something that's taught to nurses in nursing school, but not used a whole lot in Western medicine. Titration is a case where you start low and you build slowly. Um, so what we're trying to do is basically find the right dosage for everybody. And
Okay.
a lot of people might think that just because they're a big person, they would have a higher tolerance to cannabis or need more of it. And that's not actually the case. I love to talk about the dog biscuits that we actually have because I've seen 85-pound dogs take a 5 milligram dog biscuit and just completely relax. And I've also seen a 10-pound small dog take two of them and keep yapping so crazy. And I think brain chemistry plays a big role
Yeah.
in the dosage that you need. So it's a complicated question, but the right answer is for the consumer to find out how to experiment and even figure out their own dosage by playing around with different levels of different cannabinoids. I usually try and start people at a very low dosage and then build up slowly, partly because I've heard too many stories of a son or daughter who came home from college and told their parents they need to try this out because it's legal now. And then they buy something at a less reputable place, and next thing they're coming to see me and talking about how the bad experience they had, while their son or daughter might be laughing at them because they had overdone it a little bit too much, which can be frightening. But it's absolutely safe. There's no overdose level, and you're not going to create any physical addiction to it because cannabis is something that has no physical addiction, and so it's safe, but it also is very tricky.
Interesting. And speaking of, we're talking about people, right? But what about animals and pets? We're able
Yeah.
to help with them as well. Well, you, I should say, right? Tell me a little bit about some of the things people come to you as a pet owner, and for what animals? Cats, dogs, horses, what lizards? No,
Yeah. We usually see people around the 4th of July because fireworks often make our dogs and cats or other pets to be a little anxious. So CBD actually really helps with those environments. But also, CBD can be really great for relieving pain in older dogs. I had one couple who came in and they were buying the biscuits and giving their dog a biscuit every day. And then the dog who was older stopped having a limp that had been aggravating it for years. And as soon as they stopped giving the CBD, the limp came back. So it's not something that always solves all your problems, but can just alleviate the troubles while you're still in them. But it's interesting too because my wife is a veterinarian and she's a veterinarian of large animals. And I
Mm-hmm.
was recently talking to one of her grad students who said they were testing CBD in horses and to relieve pain as well as relieve some anxieties associated with either shipping or other things that happen on the farm. And their dosage was around 800 milligrams of CBD, which blew my mind because I don't recommend anything over 400 for a person. But they had done many studies to actually pinpoint what that dosage was going to be
Okay.
for the horses and the tests that they were running. So, but yeah, what's kind of cool is that I mentioned the endogenous cannabinoid system, and almost everything in the animal kingdom has one. If you look at mammals and birds, even lizards and worms, it's the
Wow.
exoskeletons like ants and spiders that don't get to have an endocannabinoid system. I'm sorry, guys, uh, but your dog definitely has one, and most of your birds and cats and other pets.
Oh my goodness. I love this. Thank you for sharing that. And we still got 3 minutes left in the show, Alan. What else did you want to kind of share with your audience today?
Well, um, There's a lot going on in legislation as far as hemp is concerned, and the hemp industry is really interesting to me. Most people don't think that our full legalization of cannabis is going to come through the hemp industry, but lately there's a lot of signs pointing to a lot of the marijuana industries, medical marijuana as well as recreational marijuana, who have nice shiny licenses in their state, and they don't really want to give those up. So while they did push for the both of these industries pushed for recreational legal in each state, they aren't really looking for national legalization of the cannabis plant. And what I would like to emphasize is that the hemp industry really is. And one of the things that's happening is there's going to be a farm bill voted on sometime at the end of this year. And we're hoping that it favors hemp and allows us to keep doing what we're doing. But there are signs that it might be restrictive because the medical marijuana industry, that has a very strong lobby in Washington, doesn't want to compete with us. And I understand that. If you've got something that's working for you, then go for it. But if we're trying to treat everybody in this country, I think we should all have a chance to be able to have it in a legal and safe sense. And that's what the hemp industry is doing more than you'll find in a lot of those other cannabis industries.
Beautiful. Alan, thank you again for being here. Let's just remind them again of this weekend, what's happening and where.
All right, on Sunday afternoon from 2 to 5 at the store, 2361 West Broad Street, Classic Sativa, we're having a tasting. You can come on down and you can see recipes on mixes you can have with all kinds of different cannabis drinks that we have. Some of them have CBD, some of them have THC, and some of them have both.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Pleasure having you back and looking forward to the next time we connect. Many blessings to you and your beautiful family. And please tell your wife I said hello. I love your backstory, where you guys came from and the farm and all your history. So thank you for that. And looking forward, hopefully we will get to connect again.
Thank you, Jill. I really appreciate it.
Are
Have
we
a great
back
day.
again soon, Ellen?
I'll see you in a week, right?
Oh, good. Well, then, can I make a suggestion? You don't
Yes.
have to, but I don't know if you know how to share like your screen, like on the
Mhm.
computer, to actually show me some of the products you're offering. I know because you don't have them on the website, I can't pull them up, but if you want to show
Nope.
us some stuff, feel free, and yeah, if you want to bring on a client, have them come on the Zoom to talk about you, your products. It's just always just to make it more beneficial. Obviously, we got the people listening in their car. Please don't get into an accident. But the people that are actually watching, it's really good for a visual, I think, to see, some of what we're talking about. Are you writing
Yes.
notes?
Okay. I love it. I'm taking notes right now so that I
I
don't forget.
see.
Thank
No,
you, Jill.
not required, but I just think it makes for a better visual show. All right. Thank you
Yeah.
so much. You have a great day, classicsativa.com, and we'll chat soon. Bye bye. Thank you.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.